Every Who down in Who Newville liked the holidays a ton, but where to get great prices on gifts, they had no idea. None. They searched and they searched for great gifts under $25. Gifts for spouses and friends and even their toddlers. When suddenly one Who shouted, Walmart has what you want, knowing they have Lego, Tree Hut, and low prices to flaunt. So they enjoy the holiday season as Who's often do, cheering and shouting, Walmart has incredible gifts. Who knew? Find gifts they'll love under $25 at Walmart.
This episode is brought to you by Nature's Bounty. Nature's Bounty believes your body is brilliant, naturally designed to thrive, inside and out. For those always looking for new ways to support your health from head to heels, Nature's Bounty has a range of over 400 vitamins and supplements born from 50 years of trust and care. Nature's Bounty. It's in your nature. Visit naturesbounty.com to learn more.
I am Nicole Khalil, and you're listening to the This Is Woman's Work podcast. And today we're going to talk about being an adult. Because, friend, I say this with love, but I am not sure that we're doing or demonstrating it all that well. Let's face it, we're taught how to solve for X in math class, but not how to speak up in a toxic relationship. We memorized the periodic table, but never learned how to feel our feelings without shame or judgment and without giving away responsibility. And most of us were raised by adults who are just like us, wildly imperfect humans in grown-up bodies figuring it out or not as we go. So no surprise that being an adult often feels more like improvising than arriving. And that's why I'm going to keep this intro really brief, because I want to make sure we have time to talk about all of the 5 pillars of being a healthy adult with our guest. Michelle Chalfant is a licensed therapist turned holistic life coach, the creator of the Adult Chair model, and the author of the brand new book, The Adult Chair: Get Unstuck, Claim Your Power, and Transform Your Life. She's helped millions through her top-ranked podcast, her coaching certification program, and her retreats and trainings. And she's here to walk us through the 5 pillars of a healthy adult self. Michelle, thank you for being here and for writing this book that I hope will be taught in high school and college and all of the places. And I'd love if you could start us off with the first pillar. And if you're okay with it, I'll just jump in with questions along the way. Does that work?
Yeah, Nicole, I love it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. I'm so excited.
Okay, so let's jump in. If I may just explain where the pillars even came from.
That'd be great.
It's a good kind of and by the way, I want to, even before I say that, I have said for years that we need to get the adult chair in school. So we're working on it, because we don't know how to feel our emotions. We don't know what to do if we have anxiety, like all these things. It's necessary. So I just want to say that. We're working on it.
If you need a champion or an endorser, I'm your girl.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll be talking to you after the show about that for sure.
Good.
Okay. So as a therapist and a coach for over 20 years, like you said, I've worked with individual clients. I don't see individual clients anymore, but I've worked, I have a coaching business and a membership and all the things. When I was writing the book, I literally looked back over 20 years and I said to myself, what is it that I have taught more than anything over the course of 20 some years? And I reflected on it. And these are the 5 pillars. And these are the things that clients or people, if I'm doing a live event up on stage, like it didn't matter. That's what was interesting to me. Whether I was on a stage and I'd pull people out of the audience to come work with me, or I'm in my private office one-on-one, it's the same thing. And what I realized is that as humans, we all have this stuff. Like we've all got these issues. Not that they're issues, but we need to strengthen these pillars in order to be healthy adults, in order to have the healthiest relationship with ourselves and healthy self-worth, and then with others, exactly like you just said. So here we go. Number 1, I own my reality. So again, when I was working with people in my office, I would find these people would just sort of like dance around the elephant in the room. Let me give you some examples of what the elephant in the room might be. Things like this. I'm drinking too much. That's owning your reality. It's like, I'm coming home. I had so many people that would come in and say, okay, Michelle, I got to tell you this. I got to tell you, I don't want to say this to anybody else, but it's quite obvious. I'm coming home from work and I realize by the time I go to bed and I put the kids to bed, I've had a whole bottle of wine. Something's not right. and I've been doing this for about a year. Can you help me? So it's that. I think something might be going on with my child. Maybe they're ADHD, maybe there's something else, but I don't want to look at it, but I know I need to. So this is what I mean by owning your reality. Or another example would be, I think I'm in a relationship with my partner that I don't love or that I don't want to be in. And again, it's the things that are right in front of our face, and we live with these things every single day, and we want them to change, but we don't know how. So we ignore. One of the things that I realize happens when we own our reality, it's not inviting in blame or judgment. It is to say, okay, this is part of my life. This is something I'm struggling with, whether it's I'm drinking too much, I don't want to be in this relationship, or whatever the heck is going on. And then here's what's fascinating, Nicole. The next thing that happens is everything starts to change. It's when we resist owning that creates the stuckness. So when people say, I'm stuck, I don't know why I'm stuck. I'm like, well, what are you not owning? you gotta look at your life and say, what's not? And it's not to say if you're in a relationship that's not working, you have to end it. But it is to say, I think we're having problems and I don't want to tell anybody. I'm not inviting anyone to put it on social. This is for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to own it. Say, okay, you know what? I think I'm struggling with love addiction, or I think I've got a lot of codependency tendencies. That might be what's going on. And I also say to people, we are the common denominator in every single relationship in our lives. Like, it's us. So if your life isn't working out, we've got to look inside and ask, what the heck is going on here? Might I need to change?
The word responsibility keeps popping into my head. And I
Yeah.
think we all do this, but maybe more so as women. When we hear the word responsible, we think more along the lines of burden or
Mm-hmm.
even blame, as opposed to I'm 100% responsible for my life and my relationships and what's in it. And that doesn't change that someone else is 100% responsible and all of that. Well, I guess let me ask how important you think it is that we put words on it. Like you said, it doesn't need to be public. It doesn't need to be on social media, but how important is it that we speak these truths? Because I've found every time I say something out loud, even if it's just with one other person, it loses some of its power.
Yeah. It almost when we speak it, this is why go find a coach, go find a therapist, go find a best friend, go find somebody that can just listen without correcting, without fixing. It starts the process of change. It gets the energy moving. You know, this is how we get unstuck. People say, I'm stuck, I'm stuck. Well, what aren't you saying?
Mhm.
What's really happening here? What aren't you owning? What aren't you taking? The other way I say it is you have to take responsibility for your life without blaming anybody.
Yeah, as you were talking, and this topic is about being and becoming an adult, I always try to tell myself, because it's hard sometimes to not point the finger, or to
Mhm.
is it's like my parents, my childhood, my experience, they explain a lot of things, but being an
Mhm.
adult is no longer allowing those experiences and those to excuse a lot of things. It's part of my story, but at some point in time, being an adult is being responsible and almost parenting yourself at a certain point.
Oh, not almost, 100%. And that's a big part of what I talk about in the adult chair model itself, but in the book specifically, I mean, that this is what people have told me for years in practicing this model is there's an actual reparenting that does happen. Like, I teach people, how do you connect to your inner child? How do you work with the inner critic and all the voices in your head and the ego part? Yeah, so you definitely do. It's sort of like the parts that we might have missed when we were growing up, we're able to fill in now and reprogram ourselves. Because let's face it, we're almost like computers. What we learn when we're growing up becomes programs that we live off of. It just is. It's
Mhm.
just is how that's how the brain and our consciousness works. So yeah, so we were able to update all that programming.
So you mentioned the inner critic. I call it head
Mhm.
trash because I want it to sound as dirty and disgusting as it actually is. These things that run through my brain, and I bring it
Mhm.
up because I know the second pillar is practicing self-compassion. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I was someone in my teens and 20s that was very hard on myself. I hated myself. I felt like I was damaged. I had a very, very, very loud inner critic. And what I came up with in my early 20s that was the antidote for that was to love myself. what I found with self-compassion, and then when I started seeing clients and working with others, I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not alone in this. And some people have a louder inner critic and blamer and judger and all those parts. And some people, it's not so loud. Or some people, it gets loud when you make a mistake, or we have a louder perfectionist or a louder controller, whatever it might be. Or we really have all those parts. Some of them are louder than others. We all need healthier self-worth. Who can't use more of that? Who can't use more self-love? And that's not to say I'm better than anybody. It's a private thing almost.
Mm-hmm.
And self-compassion, when we create that voice, which again comes from our adult chair, that's what it's about. Our healthy adult self actually is self-compassionate. It's got a compassionate voice toward other and self. And when I learned how to create and cultivate and grow that inner voice, my anxiety started to go down. My depression started to fade and take a step back. My self-love started, it's like my bucket of self-love, if you will, started to get fuller and fuller. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. But it was the conscious voice. I had to develop that conscious voice versus the unconscious voice, which was the automatic just programming in it. I was in this rut of like beating up on myself constantly.
I would venture a guess most people can wrap their head around that logically. Like it makes more sense to love ourselves than does to hate ourselves. Any tips on the how? Like how do we reprogram or change the narrative that runs in our head? Any tips on like the how-to part of it?
I'm so glad you said that. For those interested in the adult chair book, it takes you on this transformational journey. I wrote it in a way there are examples and exercises, and it is the how to. So you will walk through and go, oh, this is how I do it. But to give you an example of what that would be like with self-compassion, think about, you can know this person or not. It can be a grandmother, it can be a mother, it can be a father. What figure, what would they say to you? Right? When you make a mistake, like that loving grandmother, picture Jesus, Buddha, it doesn't matter. Pick a voice. And if they loved you unconditionally and had so much compassion for you, when you make that next mistake, what would they say?
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning, you can adopt someone else's voice and you have to consciously reach for and go, okay, what would Jennifer Aniston say? Or what would so-and-so say to me right now? What would Michelle Obama say? Okay, she'd say this. Pick a voice. It doesn't matter. And start reaching for that voice to come in and speak to you when you're having a bad day, when you're beating up on yourself. That's one beautiful way to start doing this work. And you will find it's like, as you know, like when in the brain, we have these ruts and these ruts form, the neural pathways form. We have to create new pathways. This is one way to do that. This is one way to bring in that self-compassion.
I love that. One of the things I do is I think, what would I say to my daughter in this situation? Or if my daughter made this mistake or is experiencing this thing, what would I say to her? Because I find we are so much more gracious and generous and compassionate with the people we love, especially the younger people that we love, and then try to turn that back on me. But I'm telling you, if Michelle Obama was in my head all the time, I would have a much happier world. So I love this idea. Okay,
Yeah.
so pillar number 1 is I own my reality. Pillar number 2 is I practice self-compassion. Talk to us about pillar number 3.
I feel my emotions. If I had $1 for every person that I worked with, when I said, okay, how does that make you feel? And they go, what? I don't do emotions. It was shocking. It was really shocking to me over the years to hear that response from people, or I don't know. And I was one of those people. So I'm not excluding myself at all. And I had to learn. It's like a muscle. When you go to the gym and you start working out, starting to flex that muscle of how do I feel my emotions? When we learn how to feel our emotions, I found it again as an antidote to so many things. Specifically, one of them is anxiety. So the way that I define anxiety is it's the physical manifestation of unfelt emotions. Think about what anxiety is. How do you know you have anxiety? I always would ask my clients that, or again, people I'm working with, I say, oh, how do you know you have anxiety? Oh, shortness of breath. I can't breathe. Knots in my stomach. My throat's tight. My shoulders are tight. Yada, 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 all the things. And I realized, God, these are all physical symptoms. Like these are all physical. And I'd sit with people in my office and I'd say, all right, let's go there. I want you to turn toward that thing inside of you that feels so uncomfortable. And they would turn toward it. I have knots in my stomach. Go be with those knots. Like draw your attention, bring your awareness down to your knots. What's in there? What's going on? And then they'd start to, and let's breathe slowly and really get in touch with that. People would be in shock over what would happen when we would do this together. And they would say, oh my God, I feel sadness. I didn't know I felt sad. Oh my God, my anxiety is starting to melt. What's going on? I'm like, yeah. Or if they don't feel the sadness, go be with the knots in your stomach. Be with them. Be with them. It's just like holding them or just taking your awareness into those knots. Even if you don't know, oh, it's sadness or it's I hate myself or whatever it might be, just being with the physical sensation starts to melt the physical sensation. So feeling your emotions, again, that's such a root to so many different things. It's why we're emotionally dysregulated. It's has so much to do with depression and anxiety and love addiction, love avoid. Codependency. We don't know how to feel our emotions. We're not good at it. We weren't trained how to do it.
Yeah.
Most of our parents, that's why I don't blame anybody. Who the heck taught us how to do this stuff?
Well,
Nobody.
if anything, I think we've been programmed away from it. We've been either consciously or unconsciously taught that some emotions are bad or should be avoided or, reflect negatively on us, whereas others, I often think as a parent, we say things like, I only want you to be happy. And I often worry if that's an unconsciously dangerous message to send. A, because it's not an available option for any of us. Nobody's ever going to only feel happy. And B, are we unconsciously telling our children or the people that we love that any other emotion doesn't fit or isn't good?
If you're anything like me, drinking enough water every day sounds great in theory, right up there with getting 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep and folding the laundry right away. Which is why I found a smarter way to stay hydrated with Cure. Cure hydration packs are clean and simple, plant-based electrolytes, no added sugar, and just 25 calories. They hydrate better than water alone, and get this, they actually taste good. My favorite flavor is lemonade, but they have several great flavors that you can try, which make drinking water feel like less of a chore. They even have a Cure Hydration variety pack for kids. JJ uses them over long practices or tournament weekends, and honestly, I use them then too, because hauling kids around to all of their activities should qualify as a sport. Listen, staying hydrated isn't just about water. You also need electrolytes. That's why I love Cure. It's clean, tastes great, and actually works. And for This Is Woman's Work listeners, you can get 20% off your first order at curehydration.com/womanswork with code womanswork. And if you get a post-purchase survey, make sure to let them know you heard about Cure right here. It really helps support the show. Don't just drink more water, upgrade it with Cure.
This episode is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. What do you bring to a holiday party? Simple. A bottle of Casamigos. Because nothing gets the party started like a Casamigos margarita, which isn't just for summer. In fact, it's the perfect pour all year round. Casamigos is the gift that always feels right. Because anything goes with my Casamigos. Please drink responsibly. Imported by Casamigos Spirits Company, White Plains, New York. Casamigos Tequila, 40% alcohol by volume.
Abercrombie Kids is bringing the cheer all holiday season. And winter break means it's time for new outfits that are both festive and comfy. The last thing they need? New cozy coats for every occasion. Celebrate the season with Abercrombie Kids in the app, online, and in stores.
My question is, how do we, I don't know if acknowledging the programming of that certain emotions are bad, how do we deal with emotions we've shoved aside for so long? Like any tips for recognizing and sitting with our emotion? But then my second part of the question is, I'm a big proponent, all of our emotions matter, but I also am a big proponent of it doesn't seem like mature adulthood to be run by your emotions.
Yep.
My coach, Lisa Kalman, that I worked with for many years, she said, it's okay to have your emotions. Your emotions just can't have you. It's sort of this like my emotions don't give me a license to behave in any way that I want. So how do we navigate through this?
Yeah.
My emotions are all good, and yet they can't all be demonstrated without some sort of filtering or dealing with. Is my question making any sense at all?
No, it does. Emotions are our superpower. They really are. And again, we weren't trained we weren't modeled, is a better way of saying that. We weren't modeled how to feel them well. So when we have an emotion, we want to fix it. In fact, if you look at little kids, if they fall down and they get hurt or their goldfish dies, what do? We go, oh, come on over here. Let's have some chocolate cake or let's have some candy or let me distract you from that. It's like, no, I'm in grief. Sit with me. I am in grief. And I reference this in the book. Emotions are felt for 90 seconds when we let them go through without building a story around why I'm having the emotion. So the deeper we can go into, I don't even like to call them emotions good or bad, but they're more of a spectrum. Think about a ruler, right? A long ruler. Over here we have love and over here we have fear. So everything in between are all of the different emotions that we can have. Well, the further down into the fear end of the spectrum we can go and feel and let them flow through, just like you process food, you process emotions, they metabolize through you in 90 seconds. The further I can step into my shame, guess what? The further I can stretch myself into love and bliss and excitement, enthusiasm and passion and all those things. But we're very narrow with our emotions. We want to feel love, joy, happiness. That's it. It's too narrow. We're meant to feel everything. We're energy beings. We're energy beings in human suits, basically, is what we're doing. So the emotions come through us. It's just an energy. I can't hold an emotion in my hand. It's an energy. So I understand your question about we don't want our emotions to rule us. And that's someone that doesn't have a container around their emotions. I'm exploding. That was me in my teens and 20s. I would just have high emotions or low emotions. They're all over everybody else. And it's like, that's not healthy. Healthy emotions when someone is healthy with their emotions, they have the ability to sit in the uncomfortableness of their emotions and breathe and allow them through and recognize, wow, I'm sad. Oh, I'm in grief. I've broken up with my partner. I'm really sad. That's healthy. That's not bad. And the other problem is we have other humans that don't know how to sit with us when we are sad. What do people typically say? We need to go out for a drink. Let's go have something to eat. Let's go do this. Let's go dancing. Just
or even
sit.
like, you're so strong, you're going to get through this. We tend to
Let's muscle through it.
Exactly. Yep.
No, what we need to do for other humans is to be with them in their emotions, whatever those emotions are, not say a word, but be fully present, not take on someone else's emotions, but just be really present and grounded while you're having your emotion. That's the greatest healing gift we can give to anybody. It feels so good to feel witnessed and not judged, not fixed. Just be with me. And that gives that other person permission to feel, and they can drop vulnerably inside of the body fully and let that emotion flow through. That's what we want to practice doing it for others, and then practice doing it within ourselves too. Sometimes journaling is a great way to feel emotions. Journal it out. Just it's an energy. We want to get it moving through you. And I give you all kinds of examples in the book on how to do that, but those are 2 ways. But the first step is curiosity. Get really curious. Like, why have I had a knot in my stomach? Why am I anxious for the last 2 days? I want to sit and go inside and ask myself, what is this about? And then quiet and listen and feel and notice what happens next. Every human has the ability to feel their emotions.
Yeah.
Everyone does.
Well, and noticing if you're resisting or fighting it, right?
Yes, we need to think of ourselves like rivers, a very slow moving river. And sometimes when we get upset, it's like the current gets faster. We are energy beings first. And this is not woo woo. It's quantum physics has proven this. So the emotions that are coming through us are moving. It's like a log trying to move down your river. Are you creating a log jam or are you letting the log come through? I just had anxiety the other day. I'm human. I still have anxiety sometimes. And I sat with it. It's like, what is this? It was in my heart. It felt like something was suffocating me. And I let myself breathe. I just sat there and said, body, what do you want? Put my hand on my chest, on my heart, and I closed my eyes. I started rocking to the left and the right. What do you know? In 4 minutes, it was moved through. I don't even know what it was. It was gone. I didn't name it.
Yeah.
It was tight, and then it wasn't, and I was fine. That's what happens now, but you've got to be willing to turn towards self and get curious.
Okay, then I know the fourth pillar is owning your triggers. Give us an example of what you mean by triggers and how it might be different or tied to emotions, and
Yeah.
then owning them.
Yeah, it's definitely tied to emotion. It's tied to all of them, honestly. But let's just tie it to the biggest one, of course, would be emotions. Um, so let's talk about what a trigger is. When I am triggered, when someone is triggered, okay, again, it's a physical response to something happening inside the body. When I'm triggered, so let's just say, Nicole, you say something to me and I am so furious at what you say. Like, Michelle, your hair looks horrible today. I don't know why you got it colored or cut like that. Whatever. Let's just pretend you make a comment like that to me. And I hear that and I feel knots in my stomach and I am angry. Immediately, I'm angry. And I hang up the phone on you. I tell you off, whatever I do. There's like a knee jerk reaction, right? That's a trigger. There's a physical sensation, and then I want to lash out, or I want to. Here's the thing, though. With people that are triggered, we either want to lash, we push our energy out, or what do? We shrink down and we get tight and small. We do one or the other.
Mhm.
Either way, we're triggered. But what's actually happening is an unconscious, buried, if you will, emotion. Here's what's crazy. That was created when you were before the age of 6. Okay, is rising up within you. So it's a belief or an emotion, same kind of thing. I'm not lovable. I'm not wanted. I hate myself. You're bad. I'm bad. Fill in the blank. We all have, every human has these. Some have deeper ones than others, but every human has these. And they don't feel good. So we shove them down when we're little kids down into the unconscious mind. But when we're triggered, what's happening is you out there outside of me are doing or saying something, or I could be watching a movie or I'm watching something on social or whatever it might be, brings up that belief actually about myself. That's what's so beautiful about triggers. This is why I say triggers are a gift, because they help us to not to transform these old programs / beliefs that we've had since we were 0 to 6. Like, we literally make a roadmap that we live off of, that we created from 0 to 6 years old. Everybody, like, think about what year it was when you were 6. And then think about grabbing a paper roadmap and trying to drive around based on that year, whatever that map was. It's like, it's so outdated. So that's why I love triggers, because when we're triggered, it's an opportunity. These beliefs rise up on a silver platter. They're right in front of me. The question is, am I going to go ahead and look at that belief, or I'm going to lash out and blame you for making me feel that way? So here's the thing, though, Nicole. Nobody can make us feel anything that we don't already feel about ourselves.
Right.
You can't make me feel something that's not inside of me. If you were to say to me, for example, today, Michelle, your hair looks so stupid, it's blue. I'd look at you and go, it's not. Like, it doesn't trigger me. Nothing at all, right? Nothing. Because it's not true. So unless you're saying something that is true, nothing's going to rise up and make me upset with you. So what we want to do, though, when we're triggered, instead of calling other people, your mother, your sister, your friends, your whomever, and go, can you believe so-and-so said this to me? They're such a bitch. I can't believe it. Blah, blah, blah. What happens when we do that? Again, the trigger, the belief tucks back down into the unconscious. Instead, what we want to ask ourselves is, I'm curious what's happening here for me.
Mm-hmm.
Could this be an old program or belief? And if so, I'm curious what it is. So and again, in the book, I go through the 6 or 7 stages of how we work with triggers. It's so simple. It's the how-to, like you were saying, like, how do you work through triggers? I've got you. Like, it's like, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this, and then it becomes automatic. And it starts moving through you very quickly. But we've got to be willing to start pointing the finger. And I don't like to point the finger out, actually, or in. Instead, it's like getting curious. I wonder why this is coming up. There must be something inside of me. So we might say, I hate you, or Nicole's such a bitch. I'm so angry at her. And then I ask, if you're my client, I'd say, okay, great. Thank you. I love anger. What's under it? Well, you made me feel like I'm not wanted. Great. What's under that? And you just keep going under. You will find that root belief that then says something like, I'm not valuable. Nobody cares about me. Oh, feel that. And then that's where we tie in. I feel my emotions, which would be, feel that. When you feel the root of that belief, it just transforms it. and then you put a new belief in on top of it. It's just like updating your phone. Everybody updates their phones. We have to have an updated program or app inside of our heads because that's what's running the show for us as adults.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pillar number 5, I set healthy boundaries. Ooh, this one feels like a big one.
Oh my God, it's such a big one because God knows who can set healthy boundaries.
Right.
We didn't grow up, most of us, learning how to set. Now, some people, yes, but most of us don't know how to set healthy boundaries. You have to have self-worth. I have this whole process of like what's going on the inside of self. And when you build that up, your inner value, your ideas, your beliefs, your morals, you have to get to know that. Then setting boundaries becomes almost automatic. I can tell you right now, like my tolerance for other people infringing on my boundaries is very, very low. I'm very quick now. I can say, hey, that doesn't feel good. Can you stop that, please? Or that's not okay with me, or whatever it might be. But I couldn't do that before. People would just walk all over me because I didn't know what to say. I felt guilty. I felt bad. I felt like I was being mean. I couldn't come up with the words. That's because I had to do you have to build up your inner world. If you don't feel valuable, you're not going to set a boundary.
Right.
Think about it. The most precious diamonds in the jewelry store, they're in the back. What's around them? An alarm. It's a boundary because they're the most precious. If you don't feel that you're precious and valuable like a diamond, like a precious stone, you ain't going to set a boundary.
Mhm.
You're not going to do it. Not going to happen.
I think that's such a good point because I think we often go to wanting to say it, and I put in air quotes, the right way.
Yeah.
But what
Yep.
we really mean is we want to say it in a way that doesn't hurt or offend the other person. And ultimately, what we're doing is we're prioritizing their feelings over our boundary, which
Right.
goes right back to what you were saying about self-worth.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah, you've
Michelle,
got to have self-worth.
I could ask you 1 million more questions. I know we are out of time. So I just want to remind the listener to go to theadultshare.com/book is where you can find the book. But theadultshare.com has all the things you would want to know about Michelle and her incredible work. Go get the book, also called The Adult Share. And Michelle, thank you for an incredible and important conversation. Let's get this out in schools.
Yeah, yes. Thank you, Nicole, for having me. I appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. Okay, friend. So it turns out that being an adult isn't just about having a mortgage, knowing how to cook, or pretending you're fine with things you're absolutely not fine with. It's about owning your reality, feeling your feelings, practicing compassion without letting yourself off the hook, setting boundaries that don't require justification, and knowing that your triggers aren't a sign of weakness. They're neon arrows pointing to where the work still gets to be done. None of us had a class in adulting. Most of us learned from people doing their best with what they had, which is both wonderfully human and also not always that helpful. But that's the beauty of what Michelle shared today. It's never too late to do it differently, to become the adult you want and choose to be. So whether you're just beginning this work or deep in the process of untangling old patterns, keep going. This is the kind of adulting that actually transforms lives. Yours for sure, and everyone else around you. And being a healthy adult also happens to be woman's work.